Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today is video 3. I'm going to try to keep this short and simple and give you an assessment to do on yourself. Last video we talked about stability and mobility joints and how your mobility joints, the joints through the body that should be moving with a lot of range of motion, if they are restricted in some way for any reason, how they can affect your body in the areas of the stability joints. So oftentimes, whenever you have chronic pain or tension, the adjacent mobility joint is often restricted. So we're going to take a look today at the toe and the ankle joint. We're starting with the foot, and in later videos we'll move our way through the body. And then I will give you ways to address mobility issues, but today we're just going to stick to a simple assessment. So either on a carpeted, like a small thin carpeted floor or a little pad, if you get up onto your knees, curl your toes under, and then sit back on your feet. It's helpful if you have a mirror set up next to you or a partner or friend who can help you to assess where your positioning is. So we're going to take a look at the toes first. Now, all of the toes should be completely on the mat or the floor. Whenever somebody has restricted range of motion in the toes this way, they might not be able to keep the heels together and sit all the way back on the feet. Or if you can, with restricted range of motion, sometimes the foot will be up higher and not all of the toes will be all the way on the floor or the pad, but kind of floating up here. So if that is you and you're not able to get the toes fully on the pad or the floor in this flexed position with heels together, then there is a restriction there. And there's some work that we need to do to regain that range of motion. The reason this is important is when we don't have proper range of motion, we move our bodies differently, and different areas through the body will compensate for that lack of movement, causing other issues, whether it be pain or tension or deactivation of some muscles, some sort of imbalance in the body, which if left untreated will compound and create more problems down the road. So the other joint that we're looking at here in this position is the ankle joint. Now, still with heels together and seated back onto the feet, the ankle joint, if it's got good range of motion, should be able to bend so much that the heels are actually behind the toes slightly, like this. Now, restricted range of motion, the ankle would not be so flexed and the heel would be somewhat in front of the toe joint, like I've just moved my foot there. So for the ankle to be fully flexed, the heel actually comes behind the toe joint. Now, the other direction that the ankles move is in this pointed position. So again, with heels together and seated back on your feet, we are looking for the heels to be able to remain together, toes pointed, foot, front of the ankle, shin, all of this should be flush against the pad or the floor. And if that is not achievable without pain, I should add, then there is a restriction in that movement. So building on last week's video, go ahead and try this little assessment to see how your toe and ankle joints are moving. When there's restriction in either or both of those areas, you could experience painful or tense feet, or they can become rigid and not so mobile. And you can also end up with some pain or tension or degeneration or some issues in the knee. So there's your first assessment to try at home. Go ahead and see how you do.